This is the One Scot, One Not podcast. I'm Lucy and I'm the Scot.
And I'm Karen, and I'm not Scottish at all.
Join us while we have a wee blether together about all things Scotland, from ghosty castles to myths and magic and fairies and folklore.
So buckle your seatbelts and significantly lower your expectations, because Lucy and I are taking you to Scotland. And on a quick side note, this podcast is not recommended for children under the age of 13 for inappropriate language and content. All right, here comes Ginger.
I know, I'm so excited.
I'm super excited.
Oh my goodness!
Yeah!
Ginger! You out!
Oh my gosh.
And I am sharing with you Clan Fraser Reserve whiskey.
Yes.
Oh my goodness, she's done her homework.
I have my dram with me.
Oh!
And I have most of the bottle. You can't really see. Most of the bottle's already gone.
Oh my!
Not from today. I had this for a while.
You didn't drink that just now?
No.
That's
Okay.
because you've got this like fancy green screen Highlands of Scotland, or maybe it said
This is
Ireland
Isle
or
of
somewhere.
Skye. This is Skye.
Is it Skye?
Yes, that's
I
the old
have
man.
this green screen that I haven't bothered setting up.
Well, I don't have a green screen behind me. I'm in my daughter's room in the basement, and her room, I need to clean it up because she's coming home from college tomorrow. So I've got to get down here and clean it, and it's not clean yet. So
Oh my
it's the green
gosh.
screen.
all I have to say is, even if you're the only guest we ever have, you're the best guest ever. Because
Yeah, I know.
just if you're
You
not
came
watching
prepared.
this on YouTube, she has her as is required. She has a Scotland
my
graphic tee on. Explain.
I haven't. I'm rubbish.
Oh, Lucy, you're the worst.
I know. I'm just letting the whole clan down.
It's okay. Ginger is compensating for your.
Just
I am
Black.
compensating.
don't
Yeah,
be
you
too
are.
Ginger. Karen might try and replace me.
Yeah. Wait,
No, never.
Lucy, you're breaking up. I'm just gonna let you go.
Oh,
Just
we
kidding.
have to have Lucy. We have
Nice.
to have Lucy.
Fine.
She's the
Some
Scot.
paper and crackle it.
That is true. It would just be two knots, and then that wouldn't be as cool.
I
It
know.
wouldn't be.
Um,
No, that wouldn't be.
So Ginger, we like made you come on. No, you were so gracious. You were like, I'm in. Because okay, this is what happened. Since day one, we're like, if you guys have any cool stories, come and submit your stories to onescot1not.com. And Ginger right away was like, I have stories for you. You have to check this out. Now, Lucy and I share this inbox so we can both check these messages out. And I was just super busy, so I didn't have a chance to read any of them for like a month. And Lucy was like good and like chatting with people back and forth. But then I went on and I was like, okay, Nikki Webb, who we're also gonna have on because she also entered some really cool stories. But I printed out all your stories, Ginger, and I printed them all out. It was like a stack of paper, and I was just sitting down, and oh my, they were amazing. I was like chills, and I was like, this is nuts. We have to get this girl on right away. And as soon as I reached out, I was like, you need to be a guest on our show. Anyone who like doesn't hesitate and is like, I'm in, is like, you are in for real. So that was like another
They were
year.
crazy.
I know. I have to hear everything. I'm so excited that you're here. So thank you so much for volunteering and agreeing to come hang out with us today.
Thanks for inviting me. I'm really excited. It's like being at the cool kids lunch table.
I'm so excited that you're here. To be honest, we don't have like we're very informal. Like we basically have no plan. We just wing everything. So, you know.
That's good.
Okay,
I'm learning to do that myself, so I'm right in the boat with you. And
Okay.
I've listened to like all of y'all's episodes and stuff. So yeah, I'm kind of used to y'all's banter by now.
Okay, we're super laid back. So
Yeah, it's
that's
not like we
awesome.
wrote down all our questions about what we were going to ask you or nothing. We just went, let's get Ginger on. There we go.
It's all good. It's all good.
I'm so excited you're here. I do have your stories right here next to me, but is there any place that you wanted to start or like that you thought would be, I don't know, like particularly relevant? You have so many great stories. All right, well, let me just start there, which is, do you think that you are more inclined to sense? Like, do you think you just have a sense of when there is an entity where other people just probably that same thing is there and they just don't even see it whatsoever? That's just, I think that's
pretty
what's
much
going on. Yeah,
pretty much. And I've always kind of been this way. When I was a kid, I remember I was probably maybe 11 or 12, and my mom was driving me home from school, and we lived out on this little country road, and it had like a fork in the road before you get to our house. And before we got to that fork in the road, I start screaming at my mom, slow down, you got to pull over, you got to pull over. And she's like freaking out. She thinks I'm sick or something. So she pulls over on the side of the road and she's like, what's wrong? And I said, there's a car that's about to come around that curve and it's going to run that stoplight and it's going to be on our side of the road. We have to sit here. She said, what? And I said, trust me, just sit here. And she's like, do not have time for this. I said, Mom, trust me, we have to sit here for a minute. I was really freaking out because I could literally see this car. And I remember it was a white car coming toward us. And so I said, just give me a minute. Yeah. And so thank God, she indulged me for a minute. And within like seconds, this white car came barreling down the road on the wrong side of the road, ran through the stoplight, and would have hit us head on.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah. Oh my God. How old were you where you think when that happened?
Crazy.
11, maybe 12.
So you're old enough you could you remember everything, and that's
yes. And it was just so impactful for me. And I remember her looking at me, and I was raised like staunch Baptist, right? And then she looked at me and she's like, we're not going to mention this to your father. And she said, we won't talk of this again. And she hasn't, like
really freaked her out.
Yeah. But I've always been able to like see people's auras and things like that, even when I didn't understand what they were. And so I had somebody when I was that young, I was talking to them and they're like, oh my God, here's some meditation. Back then it was tapes. Here's some meditation tapes so you can develop this. And so it was my hippie aunt. And so I did all these meditations and stuff. And so it's like, I can feel them more than I can see them. Every now and then I can see something or when they want to be seen, they'll be seen. But I'm not like, I've only been afraid that one time that we'll talk about.
Okay, good.
Yeah, we need to build up to the climax of this super scary story and have that at the end because that's super scary.
Yeah, and so because I think I've done this for so long, it's like I'm not really, it doesn't surprise me that much. And like the other night, I was outside putting my chickens up for the night, and I came in, and my husband's like, somebody just walked through the kitchen. And like, I'm right here. And he's like, no, it's not you. He said, somebody literally just walked through the kitchen. And my son has come out of his room before. Like, he likes to sleep. He's 17. He likes to sleep with his door closed. And the other night he had it open. When I got up, I was like, so why is your door open? And he's like, because somebody was like in my room last night. I'm like, what do you mean somebody was in your room? And he's like, I looked over and at my desk, somebody was sitting in my chair and they turned my computer on.
I had that before. It's really frightening.
Yeah. And my kids are kind of used to it. He doesn't want to admit that he's, he gets freaked out by it. But yeah, my kids have been in this forever too. Okay. So they're kind of used to it.
So can we unpack your home from who's living there for real? How many kids do you have? And then what other entities are hanging out there as well?
Well, it's myself and my husband. And right now it's my 17-year-old son. My middle daughter will be coming home from college tomorrow. So she'll be 21 this month. And then my oldest daughter, who is 26, now lives in Boston. But yeah, she's doing her thing up there.
Awesome.
And then we have 2 dogs and a cat.
Okay.
Do you live rurally or in a town? Or, I mean, obviously you don't need to say exactly where you live, but just...
I'm out in the middle of nowhere. So I'm like out in the
Okay.
country part, outside of a little town. It's a little college
Mhm.
town. So yeah,
And
I'm
how old is your
actually,
house?
the house actually was built in like 98, like 1998. So it's not
Mhm.
old at all. It's the land that has
Yeah.
gathered things.
I have
Right?
a theory about
Absorbed.
America because there are so many, it's not just my theory. I didn't make it up. It's okay. Um,
It's okay.
there are so many ghost stories in America. I don't know whether it's that people living there are more interested or whatever, but there's so much trauma on that land. There are
Yeah.
so many Native American burial sites that have
Mhm.
been disruptive and sites of, displacement of families and fights and battles that
Mhm.
I feel like that has to have some kind of impact. So even if your house is new, the land itself, there's something that's possibly happened in the past on that land that's,
Associates deeply
yeah.
with those
Mhm.
Yeah.
areas. And
Yeah. And go ahead, Karen. Sorry.
oh no, I was just going to ask you about if there was a time, if you feel like the entities that are accompanying you in your home presently, if they're attached to a certain time period, or even entities that you've come across before. You can tell us about your other experiences, or
Yeah.
are they more just timeless, like it was a shape of a man, but like,
Kind of
you know?
all of the in between. I've seen, there was one story I think I emailed you guys about, where I'm laying in bed one night and I have insomnia, so I just can't sleep. So
God.
I'm laying there and I'm tossing and I'm turning, and I turn over, and through the hallway, walking toward my bed is this guy, and he's like this cream colored mist shape, and I could see him so clearly, and he looked like he
Wow.
stepped right out of the 1930s. And he was a
Wow.
young boy. He had on this, button up, like white linen kind of shirt, and the page boy hat, that they used to wear. And his hair,
Oh my
I'm
I
like
remember
freaking
his
out
hair.
already. So
I remember his hair coming out from under the hat, like it was kind of
So you
curly.
could see in that much detail?
I
that's what I
could
wanted to
see,
know.
yeah, from his waist up, I could see like very clearly, like he was solid clear, but there was
Wow.
nothing from
Oh
the
my
waist down.
Oh my God,
goodness.
that's
He
so
was,
weird.
he was like coming toward me, and he didn't, like, I just laid there and looked at him. I was just really still, like, I didn't want to frighten him. And I think I did. It was so funny because he got up close, like between me and where my bed is, there's an armoire, and then you walk into my bathroom.
Mhm.
And so he got between me and the armoire, and he stopped, and we like made eye contact, and it startled him. I could see him go like, like this. And I'm just
So
sitting there
he was
going,
actually caught, you were conscious of each other. It wasn't just
Oh
a,
my
a
God.
reflection of the past. Because I know that some hauntings are these reflections of the past where it's maybe something that's happened that's being replayed like a tape. But this was
yeah,
actually something that he saw you and you saw him. Oh
yes,
my goodness.
Oh
yes.
my God.
Oh my
I'm
goodness.
literally like, trying not to
So he
completely
was,
I'm not
go
gonna
freak
sleep
out. I'm not.
tonight.
I'm not.
no, this is really sweet because I could have literally reached out and touched him if he was like solidly there,
Were you
but
tempted to try and talk to him?
not at that time because I didn't want to wake the house. I didn't want to,
Uh-huh.
but they're not audible. Like they really, I don't think they're audible. I think the way that I've heard them is more in my head. Like I could hear like sentences, or I can hear words in
Uh-huh.
my head, and it's not like an audible
Oh,
sound.
I've got
Oh
chills.
my
I've
God.
got
I'm
chills.
literally freaking out.
And so like we made eye contact, and then when we did, I saw him go like, oh, and I just sat there like I was frozen, and he smiled this great big smile, and he waved at me. He just like
What?
waved, and then he just like disappeared.
Shut
Oh my
up. Oh
And
my
goodness.
God.
and it was so amazing. I loved that. Was one of my favorite,
Oh my
my favorite
goodness.
times. But
I
yeah,
don't know how
I'm
I would, I don't know how
I
I
don't
would
I don't
react.
know. How old do you think he was? You said he was like a boy, right? He
he
wasn't like
was
a
a
man.
boy. I'm guessing anywhere between maybe 14 and 19. He was young.
Uh,
He was young.
And have you done any research on obviously not your house because that's quite new, but like what was there before to see if there was somebody fitting that description or?
I don't think he himself was. I think he was just passing through. I honestly think there's something that's here that like draws them in. I don't know if it's me or if it's like what.
Sure.
I don't think it was that. There are things that happen here though that are from here. Like our resident house ghost actually died on our property.
Oh,
resident, like, hi, here's my resident house ghost.
Yes, he's our house ghost. He's been here since this. He died in the 60s.
So you know his name and everything.
We do. We know his name.
What's his name? Oh,
his name. No, his name is Lee, and he's really super sweet. He's a practical joker. So he likes to play tricks on us.
Like
and,
what? Like what?
Like
what kind of tricks?
Well, little things like the TV channel will change. We had a stereo upstairs at one point, and it would come on by itself and then go off. Like in the middle, just weird times, it would just come on and off. The ceiling fans would turn on, and then we would go turn them off, and I'd sit down. The ceiling fan would be back on again.
Maybe he's a fairy. He's a trickster fairy.
You're like, it's just Lee.
We have those as well.
You're the best guest.
I know.
We could just be done with a podcast right now and not do a single other episode, and I would die happy. No. Oh my gosh! So was the ghosty boy from the 1930s? Is that the same house that you're in now? Oh, it is. Okay. How long have you been at this house?
We've been here for going on our 17th year.
Oh, okay. So so have you been there?
So you're quite used to it. Sorry, I keep interrupting.
No, I know I do too. I have so many questions. This is like amazing. Okay, so Lee, did he die? Do you know how he died?
He actually had a heart attack. So he and some of his friends were hiking this area that I'm in. I'm in the mountains. Mm-hmm. So it used to just be all just mountain land. Yeah. It was actually way back when it was Cherokee hunting lands. And so we're about maybe less than 10 miles from, actually about 5 miles from where I live, there was, it was the place where they always like hung their meat to dry and stuff. So it was like a central part for the hunters. And that was where they would dry and cure their meats before they would take them on home. And so if you go a mile in the other direction, it used to be a little railroad town. The hotel is still there, and the hotel is haunted. The hotel is still there. Somebody lives there. It's a house now.
No.
And the barn is still there, where the barn owner's daughter hung herself. So people say that I've never seen her, but some people will say that that she haunts that area over there. Across from me, I'm not sure what the year was. Could have been maybe in the last 100 years. There was a girls' camp where girls would go. And so I had a friend of mine who lived in a house over there. And I would go and visit with her. And one day I was driving, her driveway kind of winds up into the woods. And I stopped because it looked like I almost ran into this old guy standing in the middle of the road. And I saw him very clearly. He was wearing overalls and a hat, and a little thin guy. And when I stopped my car really suddenly, he was gone. And so I got to her house and was like, so who's the dude in the driveway? And she said, oh, that used to be the groundskeeper. People see him all the time.
Oh my goodness.
And so there's one of the little houses that are up there was one of the camp houses that's still there. And he hangs around that camp house a lot. So the cops will get called because they think somebody's peeping through the window, and it's actually a ghost.
Oh my God. He's like so visible.
Oh.
Yeah.
And that always gets me to thinking too, like about the form, like are they solid? Like that was my first question when I just was in Savannah. And I don't know if you heard the haunted hotel story, but when the concierge was telling me how Lottie likes to tickle people's feet, all I could think about when it was like my turn to go try to sleep in this place was like, if these ghosts must have a physical form for them to be touching people and them to be feeling it. And then I was like, just stop right there, brain, because I am never gonna get any sleep tonight. But you know, if you can see them and then they are able to physically touch humans.
I mean, or do they look like a mist, or because
they're pretty
all
misty.
I've ever seen is like a mist. I've seen this mist before in my kitchen, and it was like this. In fact, it happened so quickly. I thought it was my cat, and it was a gray mist, and it moved across my kitchen, but at like below knee level almost. And I thought it was my cat. And I actually shouted to my cat, you know, Sabby, come on, what are you doing? And then I was like, where's he gone? And I went upstairs and he was fast asleep upstairs. And that made me think, what did I just see? But all it was this weird gray mist. There was nothing solid, and it didn't look like a person.
Sometimes they don't. Sometimes they're just shapes. I have been lying in bed before, just watching the ceiling fan, trying to go to sleep, and I've seen orbs like flying above me. Like there was one night that I saw, it was a big beautiful blue orb, and it looked like just this giant ball in the sky, but I could see through it, but the inside of it was like moving. And I'm sitting there watching it, and I'm like hitting my husband, going, wake up, look at this thing. And he wouldn't wake up, and he's just like groaning, and I'm like, you've got to see that. Tell me I'm not dreaming. And he's just like not having it. And so I'm sitting there watching it, and I actually sat up and I put my hand up like this, and it floated down like it was going to land in my hand, but I couldn't feel anything. But like my hand was tingling a little, and that was it. And I just sat there and held it in my hand for a minute, and then it just kind of like got smaller and smaller and disappeared.
Oh my God,
that's crazy. So has your husband and children, I know you said about your son seeing someone in his room, but have they experienced things in the house, or is it mostly you?
No, we've all experienced it. So when my daughters were little, and I think I sent you guys this too, part of one of Lee's little tricks that he did that the girls still giggle about. They were, so the bedroom is downstairs, so I'm in their room right now. And when they were smaller, we had a baby monitor down here so we could hear them in case they needed us in the night, because our room is upstairs on the other side of the house.
This is the story when I was reading it. I just was like, holy shit. Like I was just like exclaiming like swears, because I was like, what is... Okay, sorry. Your stories are amazing. Continue. I know what's coming.
No, it's
That's
good.
The only
it's good.
reason. Yeah.
It's good. So I hear on the baby monitor, I start hearing them chattering and talking, and I hear music playing, and I look at my clock and it's like 4 a.m. I'm like, what are they doing? And my daughters at the time were in middle school. So they were like, they're 3 years apart. So they were like 12 and 9 or something like that. And my oldest one was really good about getting up on her own and like getting my other one up and them getting ready and stuff. And so I come downstairs. Their lights are on, the music's playing, they're getting dressed. I'm like, what are y'all doing? And she's like, well, Dad came down and told us it was time to get up. I said, no, he didn't. Your dad's upstairs asleep. Oh. And she said, I heard Dad say, girls, time to get up. And she said, so we got up and we're getting ready for school. And I'm like, no, it's 4 a.m. We're upstairs asleep. And I looked around the room for a minute, and I was like, Lee, this is not funny. I need my sleep. I said, girls, get back to bed. And they did, and that was all that was for. And then one night, and I didn't tell you guys this, my oldest daughter was getting ready for bed, and she was coming out of her bedroom, and the bathroom's right here. She was walking out of the bathroom, and she said she could hear. She thought it was audible, but now she's like, I'm not so sure it was so audible. But she could hear, good night, Shy. And she said, I stopped for a minute, and she said, good night, Lee. And she went to bed.
Oh my gosh. He's like
he must love you, right?
I know.
He has this like new family in his house.
I know, that's actually really sweet.
Well, I did hear right after we moved here, the people who live directly next door to us, we don't have a lot of neighbors, but we do have one house next door. And the people, that house was up for sale as well. And those people had 2 big lap dogs. And at the time, we just had one little dog. And I was out walking my little dog one day, and their lab came over and like attacked my dog. Ooh. And so the lady was on the porch. She didn't call her dog back. She just went back in the house and closed the door. And I'm like, lady, your dog just attacked mine. They moved within a week, like quickly moved within a week. And I had heard from a mutual friend that they had started seeing things in the mirrors.
Oh,
and
God.
Things started scaring them.
That's
that always
terrifying.
scares
I
me.
can't
do
Mirrors
that.
terrify me.
Yeah.
But I wonder if Lee was upset that they didn't do anything because her dog attacked mine, and so he went over there and scared them away.
Oh, you have a protector ghost then.
Wow.
That's my theory. That's my
Really?
theory. Because nothing else has ever happened over there.
Oh, really? It was just one time. Oh my
does
gosh.
sound like it.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
He wanted you guys to be happy, so he got rid of the nasty neighbors.
Like protective
Could
of
he
you.
come and sort my neighbors out? Because they're really annoying me.
Hey, I can ask him.
Oh my gosh. So how often does he make an appearance, you say?
It's sporadic. When the kids were little, it was more often. Now that
Really?
they're kind of out of the house, every once in a while, I'll be sitting on the couch and I'll feel a little bump on the back of the couch, like somebody thumped the couch.
Really?
And then, yeah.
I don't like that. How does that not scare you? How?
I'm just not afraid of him. I'm just not afraid of him. But like it happened actually a couple of evenings ago. I was sitting on the couch and I felt a little bump on the back of the couch, and I just put my hand back like this behind the couch, and I could feel like a coldness on the top of my hand.
Stop.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
I think the thing that would weird me out the most, and I know this is going to sound really juvenile, but it's the thought that there would be this entity that is there hovering around in the room watching everything that I do.
You don't get that sense? Isn't that not your sense?
I think they're around a lot, and I guess I'm so used to it, it doesn't bother me. It still freaks my husband out a lot, though.
Does he? I was just going to ask you, because you guys have had a lot of encounters when you're together in your stories. So, yeah, does he pick up on it because you pick up on it first? Or like, do you think that he would?
No, he'll see it, but it just freaks him out some more. Like the other night when I was outside and he came in, he's like, somebody was totally in the kitchen. But no, he gets so at first when I started telling him about it, he thought I was crazy. He's like, you're just making this up. I'm like, no, I'm not. He's like, you're trying to scare me. You're making this up. And then the little things started happening. He's like, you're doing that. I'm like, how am I turning the stereo on when I'm over here? Like, how am I doing that? There's no remote. There's nothing. And so one day I was at work and he did call me and he's like, okay, I believe you now. I'm like, what makes you believe me now? And he said, well, I was putting clothes away and we have this space heater in our bedroom that looks like an old stove. And he said the heater just came on. He said, because I was sitting there going, she's just making this up. He said, I was talking to myself. I was talking out loud. And he's like, she's just making this up. And he said, the heater
So
just
it was
came
almost
on.
like it was done to prove that.
Yeah. And so he called me. He's like, all right. He said, when are you coming home?
Yeah, right? Oh my gosh. Well, especially because you are in a more isolated area. I think that would, although it sounds like Lee is kind of like protective of you. So then it's really not anything to be.
Yeah. I'm not afraid of. I've only been afraid once. And it wasn't here. Actually, well, there was a house in Tennessee that we were looking at. So when we were looking at the house here, I love old farmhouses, love old farmhouses. And it was my dream to have an old farmhouse. So I found this ad in like the real estate ads that there was a farmhouse, an 1880s farmhouse in Tennessee that had been renovated, like 14 or 16 acres of land, fruit orchard on the land. And I was like, holy cow, I got to have this house. So we drive all the way out there. At the time we were living near New Orleans. So we came up here just to see that house. And we drove out there, and the pictures of the outside of the house, it looked gorgeous. But when we got up there to it, the house had been like, I don't know what they took down all of the siding and put up like vinyl siding on this beautiful old house.
Oh, that's sad. Yeah.
And when we walked inside, the house had been gutted except for like little things. And there was a mother-in-law suite out back, like it's a little apartment that was beautiful, that was brand new. And the real estate guy told me, he's like, okay, so the guy actually lives back there. He doesn't live in the house. I'm like, well, why not? Why doesn't he fix this up? And he's like, I don't know. He said, but he lives back there. It's like, all right. So we walked through the house and it needed a lot of work, like a ton of work. And so he and my husband were walking around downstairs and I venture upstairs. As I get to the top of the stairs, I look over and everything has been kind of modernized. It looked like it was from a lot of it from the 1980s instead of 1880s. And except for this one door. This one door it looked like it had been hand carved, beautiful door with those glass door handles. I'm like, oh my God, I got to go in there. I opened the door and as soon as I stepped in, I get chills. Like my hair stands up everywhere. And I'm like, okay, this is weird. That room had not been touched. It still had the old floors, the old walls, like the little wooden slats on the walls. Everything was just like perfect in that room.
1800s.
From the 1800s. And so somebody, it looked like had built out at some point, because they didn't have closets back then. So it looked like they had built out a closet in the corner. And it also had that really pretty glass doorknob. So I go over there and I open the closet to see, because I've never seen a closet like that before. I want to see inside. The room was empty too, by the way. There was no furniture in it at all. There was nothing in it.
Was it clean or was it real dusty and old? It was like immaculate? But
it was clean. Yeah, it looked like, it just looked like somebody had swept and everything in there. So it was nice and clean. It was a beautiful room. But I had this just feeling the whole time I was in there.
So you're like, let's keep going and open the door in the door.
Let's go through that door and see what other scary stuff we can find.
That's normally that's what gets me in trouble a lot. I
see
what's behind that door, and I go through the door. I'm one of those people that if I see something in the woods, I have to go explore it. Like if I see like the little, I have to go, because I'm just weird that way. But I open the closet door and this gust of like cold comes like right over top of me, and like it feels like it went completely through me. And there was nothing in the closet but the iron bar where you hang your clothes.
Yeah.
And I saw this shadow go across where the bar was, and it looked like, for a split second, it looked like somebody hanging from the bar.
Shut up.
No.
Horrible. I got chills just talking about it again.
Oh, give me the heebie-jeebies.
Yeah.
So I closed the door really quickly. I go out of the room and I close that door, and my husband and the realtor's coming up the stairs. And I looked at him and was like, nope, not this house. And he's like, why? What do you mean? I was like, I'm not this house.
Yeah.
Like, show me another.
Oh, hell no to this house.
And he's like, so what? Why is it? And I was like, go in that room right there. And then you tell me what you think. So they go up, and I look at the realtor and I was like, so tell me, is this house haunted? And he kind of dropped his eyes and he's like, I don't know. I was like, yes, you do.
Yeah, you do.
Yes, you do. Because this house is stupid cheap. This is a stupid cheap house.
Yeah, they're just trying to get rid of it.
You could have made so much money out of that, Ginger. You could have been like the next Amityville or one of those horror movies.
Poltergeist that you're also buying.
Yeah.
No way.
Yeah, that wasn't one I wanted to play with. Lucy.
Yeah,
that wasn't one I wanted to play with.
Wasn't a league.
I know. I don't think I would either.
Something wasn't quite right with that one.
Oh, that's really.
It sounds really sinister, actually.
Yeah.
It was more sad than sinister. It was just really sad, and there was a heaviness to the room. I wasn't afraid. It was just a real heavy feeling that was in the room.
Ginger, you really have your pulse on these spirits. It's like, and by the way, I believe every single thing that you're saying. Like, just, I can tell that when you're saying, you're not making, you know what I mean? Like, you can tell when someone's being.
Oh no, I wouldn't make it. I couldn't make this up. I don't have that kind of imagination.
No, but that's what I mean is I can tell you're dead serious. You know, these are very real, true things. And it's, thank you for telling
So what happened when your husband went into the room?
Yeah, what did they say?
Oh, I waited at the bottom of the stairs for him, and they walked in. He immediately walked back out.
Your husband did?
My husband did. And he was at the top of the stairs, and he looked at me, and he's like,
no way.
Nope, not going to happen. And so the realtor's like, well, let's go see the garden. Let's go see the apple orchard, or because they have different trees than just apples. So let's go
He
see
was
the
desperate
orchard.
to sell that house, wasn't he?
The land was gorgeous. It was beautiful.
I'm
It
sure.
was, and I'm in the mountains, so it was
Yeah.
like 14 acres of mostly flat land, which is like huge up here.
Unheard of.
And the house could have been really, really pretty if it had been redone properly.
And someone
But I'm
hadn't
like,
hung themselves in the closet. Oh my
Oh,
gosh.
no.
That's terrifying.
It's like something out of The Haunting of Hill House or something like that. One of
Yes.
those shows.
I love that movie.
Do you like scary shows? Like, do you like
I
scary
do.
things? You do?
I do. I used to be a horror movie junkie when I was a teenager.
Okay.
But yeah, we watched Hill House in October. We did, because we were all like in lockdown, and so we were all watching The Haunting of Bly Manor, not Hill House. We watched Bly
Oh
Manor.
yeah, that was good as well, wasn't
Yeah.
it?
See, I can't
Yeah.
do scary movies. Like they get so like into me that I
Yeah.
can't let them go, which is why I don't even know why I'm on a podcast talking about scary things, because it really freaks me out and I have a hard time getting over it.
When we stayed,
Do it.
when we stayed overnight in Ward Hill Castle, when we did our art retreat, we actually only stayed overnight for one night
Mhm.
because the whole of the castle was let out to our guests, and we had to get super drunk that night, didn't we?
Yeah. Oh, I'm like a screaming idiot, like trying to just get around. Every time I go to the bathroom, I'm like, ah, like, ah, like I can't even walk around with like a straight face. I would just be like skittling, and I couldn't walk like a normal person if I was going to the bathroom, because there's also no bathrooms on the first floor of the castle. So
you have to go up this little spiral
Yeah.
staircase.
yeah, and then there's mirrors everywhere, and like
I
it's
want
just
to go there.
yeah, you should come there. We're going every
There's
year.
definitely
so
ghosts there.
There's definitely ghosts.
Yeah, I'm saving
Yeah.
my money for Scotland. I'm saving my money for a trip because I have to
Good.
go.
Yes, you do have to go. Absolutely. You really do.
I do have a story from London.
Bring
Oh,
it.
please tell us.
Yes.
So we got to spend a week in London, and of course we did all the touristy things, and we went to the Tower of London.
Yeah.
And so we're doing the
Oh,
tour.
that place is fascinating, isn't it?
Oh, I
It's
love
so
it. I
fascinating.
love it.
Sorry, I'm interrupting you, but the bit that I found the most interesting about the Tower of London was the graffiti from like the 1500s.
Hilarious.
So these people that were imprisoned in the Tower of London, and actually some of the graffiti is from famous people that were imprisoned there, like names that are down in history that we know now. And they were imprisoned in there for months or years, and they've actually taken some kind of implement and carved into the stonework, but it's graffiti, so it's like names and dates and like quotes from things.
Yeah.
It's so fascinating because you can actually just go and see, and it just really takes you back to feeling like you're so close to that person that was stuck in that tower. But also I think sometimes with people from history, we imagine somebody living in the 1500s or 1600s, that they're this weird, slightly abstract person, that they're a little bit different from us, which clearly they would have been because they had different experiences, but that they're almost not like as human as us or something, that they, and then you see this graffiti, which is definitely graffiti, some of it. It's almost like the 1500s version of "I was here," that kind of thing.
And it humanizes them.
It really humanizes them. Yeah.
Yeah, and there was one area of the tower that I could not walk into. Like I went into the area, so it was down in the part where they tortured people. And so we were walking through, and of course, you've got your earphones in and you're doing the your self-tour. My husband's ahead of me, so he's like walking around, he's looking at everything, and down in that section they have like the real things that they tortured them with. Like they have all those little things laying around. And I walked to the first section, and it felt like somebody was choking me, like literally choking me, like I couldn't breathe. And so I thought, okay, you're just being weird. just keep going. You know?
Just keep going.
Just keep going. And so I walk over to the next one, and the farther in I got, the worse that it got, that I literally could not breathe. I felt like the pressure, like somebody was sitting, like an elephant was sitting on my chest.
Oh my God.
And I turned around, and there was the area where they would crush people.
No, yeah, I know. I was just there, like not that long ago with my kids, like 2 years ago. So it's like fresh in my mind, right where you were.
Yeah. And so I turned that corner, and I saw like that area where they, where they were crushing people, and I literally could not breathe. And I thought, okay, I'm having a panic attack. I got to get out of here. So I just turned around, and I just beelined back out the other way. I didn't even finish going through it. And I walked around to the other side and waited for my husband on the other end. And he's like, where did you go?
What are you doing?
He's like, where did you go? I said, I couldn't stay in there. I couldn't breathe. Wow. I said, I felt like I was being crushed to death. I couldn't breathe.
That's so it's crazy. Number one, because you're in obviously the place that people were crushed, but also, and I hate to keep bringing this stupid Savannah trip up, but when I did finally get brave enough to Google reviews for the hotel to see what was haunted, the first one that popped up was one who said he had to leave at 3 o'clock in the morning because he felt like something was crushing his chest so much that he couldn't breathe. It was like just sounded exactly what you were just saying. So I just don't understand what's happening. What do you think that was?
I honestly think now that it was somebody that was still there. That was, because from my experiences, most of these entities and these spirits, they want you to know that they're there. They're either lost or they're stuck, and they just want somebody to acknowledge that they're there. And I think in that particular place, it was almost like I was feeling what they were feeling at that time.
Right.
Yeah.
And so that was that was so traumatic to them that that's all they could still feel.
Right.
And so I was feeling what they were feeling.
I think that's quite common with psychic medium type people, isn't it? That when they go to a place that's haunted, they'll start to feel almost like the physical characteristics of the pain that the person who's haunting it maybe died from or whatever. That's how they can pick up on those aspects, because they start to feel those things within their own body, which does make me wonder whether if you're a sensitive type person, because I know that there are some people that are absolutely not sensitive to any of this in any way. Right. My mom and my son laugh at me when I tell them stuff. They're like, "You're crazy, Lucy. You've got your head in the clouds. Don't know what crap you're coming out with. We don't believe any of it. It's all bullshit." Yeah. But I've had, this is not the episode to speak about my experiences because we're here for you, but I've had quite a few things happen. And I think that if you're the kind of sensitive person that you pick up on those kind of things, I wonder whether there's a lot of minor physical ailments that people like that get, who tend to feel things more, whether they're feeling it from something that's going on in that way, in the spirit world type thing way, rather than just I've got headaches, I'm dehydrated or something like that. But you're picking up those things for that reason. Does that make sense? Am I speaking?
No, totally sense, because I can and I have to remind myself sometimes. I do have to think, okay, is this me or is this something else? And I can pick up on real people, like actual people as well. I worked with a lady once who was she was having just emotional torment in her life, and she was angry all the time and just all of this stuff happening. Her emotions were all over the place. And I could tell that she was on the property of where we worked before she walked in the building. I could feel her before she came inside.
And that's that energy that you're talking about originally.
Yeah. Yeah. So I can pick up a lot of things on people if I have to. Like, I knew her very well, and I knew her for several years. So I could pick up on, I knew her like I knew her enough that I could pick up on her quickly.
Right.
If I'm in a room with strangers, a lot of times I can pick up on other people's energies just because of if their energies are really strong about something. If they're just a normal, nothing happening, nothing real crazy's going on, I don't pick up on it as much unless I'm really trying to pay attention to them. I can do it. But yeah, I can pick up on a lot of different kinds of energies and stuff. I actually did some energy, like I was trained to be a Reiki master.
Oh, cool.
So I do energy healing.
If you've used, that was my next question, was if you've used any of that ability in your professional aspect or to help a family member, or because I'm sure you can use that to your advantage, and just why not? You have that ability.
Yeah.
Has it accentuated any part of your life in a positive way where,
Yes and no. It's a fun little party trick.
Yeah, for sure. It could also be horrible, too. It's like you don't want that either. You're very cool about it, but I'm sure someone is probably could find that as being a huge curse as well.
I know it could be hard if you
that. If you're terrified,
sensing bad things that were going to happen to somebody, or
and there's places that I don't like to be. Like I don't like to be in the hospital. I don't like to be in emergency room areas and things like that. So I can feel the anxiety that's there. I've walked into like a shopping center before and turned around and walked right back out.
Do you think you would call yourself an empath then? I know people love to throw that around, and I'm always like, whatever. But when you're talking, I'm like, I think that is what an empath is. Not so much people.
I've been called that. I've been told that I was, but it's like, I don't know. I don't know if it has a name or what it is, but it's,
it just is.
It is what it is.
It's a bit trendy at the moment.
It is very trendy to be. That's why I'm kind of about it, but I'm not doing that for you. I'm like, no, I think she really is an empath. Like that to me is what that means, like this is serious business. So I'm sorry. So you said you were trained as a Reiki healer and
where was I going with that?
And I was asking you if you had used it in any way to in any capacity, sort of professionally, but you were just also about to talk about being trained in that.
Kind of, sort of. I do a lot of, I'm a meditation teacher as well. So that's not my profession. I don't make money at it, but I have done, there was a little metaphysical store here in town that used to have spirit days once a month. And I would be invited to come and do like Reiki sessions, like 10, 15-minute little sessions on people. And this guy walked in one time and he sat down and I explained to him what it was. And I told him, I was like, you may or may not feel anything. It just depends on how sensitive you are. And so I did my thing. And at the end, I could feel like pain, like where he had pain. And so I just told him, I was like, I don't know why, but you have pain all over the side of your body. I can feel the tension. I can feel the pain that's there. And I said, so you may want to maybe see a massage therapist or something, because I'm not really sure what it is, but this is what I feel. And he just looked at me. He's like, huh. Interesting. And he walked out. But the lady came in after him and she's like, so how did that one go? And I'd never met her before. And I was like, what do you mean? She said, that was my husband. And he's such a skeptic. And I said, well, this is what I told him. And her eyes got big. And she said, he was in a car accident like 5 years ago. And the whole side of his body was crushed.
No way.
Oh my goodness.
Wow.
That's crazy.
And she said he has constant pain on that side of his body.
Of course he wasn't going to tell you that. Oh, that's awesome.
That was fun, but
that's awesome.
But yeah, it's a neat little party trick that I can do.
Yeah, it is. Oh, that's really neat. Have you ever been able to capture any of the things that you've seen on like camera or your phone or anything? You do?
Yes, I sent you guys some pictures.
I'm sitting. Wait, I'm
think
checking. I have them right here. Well, you know what too is I actually stopped because I didn't want to ruin.
It was a while ago that I read the emails. I can't remember.
Ginger, by the way, thank you for taking such time, and your stories are really well written. I mean, I know you spend a lot of time. I just want to tell you, thank you. I really did appreciate it, and it made it so good. And it would have been awesome to have just been able to read them, but this is like extra special. No, I'm not seeing the pic. Oh wait. Oh no. Oh, this is from Nikki. We have to have her on too. No, I have Nikki's pictures. I know
that Nikki sent us photos.
Yes, and that's what oh wait.
Was it the people at the like a bonfire was that you that sent those ones?
It wasn't the bonfire. So we went to Hawaii and
yes.
we went on a ghost tour in Hawaii, and so our tour guide was a sensitive person, so he could see things, and he would tell us where to point our cameras and take pictures.
Oh, that's
And at the
cool.
time, I didn't have my phone with me. I actually had a regular digital,
Camera.
like 35 millimeter camera.
Yeah.
And so he told us what setting to put it on for flashes and things like that to get the best pictures that we could. And so I'm walking around, and it's dark. You can't hardly see your hand in front of your face. And so I'm just taking pictures, like flashing, and other people are too. We're just randomly taking pictures. And I go back to the hotel room and I hook it up to my laptop and I'm downloading the pictures and I'm looking at them. And two of them, I swear to the goddess, they were, they're fairies in the pictures. There's these little things that lit up.
Do you have them still?
Yeah, I sent them. I
don't have them in my stack.
Yeah, Karen, we got them.
I can resend them.
Oh my gosh.
Resend them to
Can I
you.
put them on the website? Can I put them up on my blog? Oh, heck yes.
Yeah, totally.
But I remember
excited.
Seeing those
No, I didn't
photos.
see them. I'm
was
so
amazing.
sad.
Yeah.
I'm like scrambling. I'm like,
You could see arms and legs and wings. I mean, I love them. They're awesome. My husband told me I was crazy. I'm like, well, you explain what they are.
Yeah, right?
Fairies, what are they? And so the guide, I sent the pictures to the guide afterwards, and I was like, okay, here's what I found. And there's pictures, all kinds of pictures of orbs everywhere. Just
really,
there's tons of orbs.
From your camera.
Mhm.
Oh my gosh.
And so the guide was telling me, he called them apparitions.
Okay.
It's like, yeah, okay, whatever, they're fairies.
Right.
I do have some that I didn't send you guys though. There was one where we were standing up on this tower where the warriors at the time ran a bunch of the people they were fighting off the cliff.
To kill them.
And so the guy stopped talking. He's like, all right, take a picture down here now of the floor. And so I'm taking pictures of the ground. And when I came back up in the corner, I almost missed it. There's a little green face, like in the corner.
Really?
Yeah. And then that's one I didn't send you. I can look that one up and see. But one of them that I did that was really super creepy. So they took us to a part of the island that was supposed to be like the most haunted place on the island. We were on Oahu. And the guy's telling us a story about all these things that happened there. And it was a van full of us. So there's probably maybe 10 of us, I think 10 or 12. And I'm snapping pictures, and all of a sudden he's like, okay, we have to leave now. Everybody back in the van. Immediately go back in the van. And so everybody's like running back to the van, like they're freaking out. And I'm still like taking pictures, walking backwards. And my husband's grabbing me by the shirt and he's like, would you come on? I was like, no, I'm getting this.
Oh my gosh.
So when I got back in, there was, and I think I don't know if I sent both of the pictures or just one to you guys. There's like 2 trees that are like this. And like in the center of the trees, you can see all these orbs. Well, the second picture, the orbs had morphed and I could see a face, like a shoulder and an arm and a leg coming through those.
Coming through the orbs? Oh my God.
Well, it was coming through the 2 trees. And those were super cool. I got so excited when I saw them. I was in the hotel like squealing, look what I found.
Have you ever tried taking photos in your house to try and capture anything?
I've gotten some orbs mostly. One of the orbs did have a face in it. I don't know where that picture is though, it's been a while. But one of the orbs did have a face in it.
Wow.
Yeah,
That's so cool. I do have to say, the only thing that came close to, Lucy, was when we were in some of the castles and we were like actively shooting, taking pictures while I was doing videos everywhere, like I could to make my YouTube videos, and you could just see like all of a sudden the camera would just go out of focus and we're like, why is the camera going out of focus right there? Like, yeah, this is like, is this a cheesy like ghost hunter episode? No, like this is really I feel like I did it for you all the time, where
we did it loads, and I did totally feel like I was in a cheesy ghost adventures.
We were laughing so hard.
It's out of focus. Why is it gone out of focus? Because they always do that in those videos. But it was just doing it so much, wasn't it?
It was, and times that there was no reason for it too. Like you're just looking at it. It's a perfectly modern digital camera, and all of a sudden you would just be like, and we're like, come on, like ghosty joke. But I do think
could be something.
I
could
know.
have been something.
I know. Oh my gosh.
You had a super scary story.
Yeah, I wanna hear
I do have
scary
a super
one.
scary story. I do have a super scary. And Lucy, I know you're by yourself at home, and I know it's almost nighttime where you are because you've mentioned that before.
Well, my son is upstairs,
Yeah.
but he is 20 and he pays no attention to me whatsoever. And he also doesn't go in for any of this. This is what he calls it, witchy nonsense. So I can't run crying to him saying,
we call it a brain mint. So you can watch something fun and quick, like a quick little YouTube video of a Disney piece.
Oh, I like
or a little
that.
cartoon.
I like
we
that.
call them brain mints.
I'll watch some
It's to
Schitt's
cleanse
Creek
the
or
palate.
something.
Yeah, something to cleanse the palate.
Some Schitt's
Yes.
Creek or
Yes.
Yeah.
some Friends, something to.
I did tell my husband about your Bible, by the way, and he
Oh
was.
my goodness!
I was explaining to him what you guys had described it at, and he's like, "Oh, that would be so cool." I'm like, "Yeah, I know how to walk a hair in," and he's like, "Nope, nope."
No, I didn't. I didn't want that in the
but
house.
this is
No
what I
way.
want to know. It's why have you not busted a picture of that out yet, Lucy? I
Oh,
wanna see it.
it's because he's in his room all the time. I can't get in to get a photo. I
Desperately.
must.
You have
Tell him
Wait
your
until
nonsense witchy
he-
friends wants to see it.
They're witchy
I know. I
friends.
must wait until he's like in the shower or something, and then
Yes.
sneak in. And I know he doesn't
Tiptoe
listen
in
to this, so he
there.
doesn't know.
He will never
He still thinks
know.
we've only got one
I
listener.
know. Well,
He
and
said-
Ginger,
Make-
she's here.
Just tell him it's me.
She's
Tell
here
him I
with
want to
us.
see it.
Yeah,
I said,
I have to see it.
I told him that we were starting to make merch the other day, and he said, "Why are you bothering to do that? Nobody listens to your
I
podcast."
know. And you're like, true, but I want to buy the t-shirts.
I'll get a t-shirt.
I want a
I
t-shirt.
made them for me.
I know. I know. Are they done, by the way? Because I
They're
got a
on
message.
Redbubble.
I know, but they said I got a message that was like, finish setting up your shop. And I was like,
maybe I have to do something. Maybe I have to
because I'm dying
do
for
one
it.
final.
I want
yeah.
a fun Folkaheme shirt.
I want
No.
one too.
Lucy did an awesome job. She designed them all. Yeah.
They're a little
I can't
bit
wait.
sassy.
They are.
They're
very
sassy, aren't they?
I
Well,
want
one
one.
of the t-shirts that I actually was going to wear today, and it was in the laundry because I wore it yesterday, it says Celtic woman, goddess with an attitude.
Oh, nice.
Oh, that's
That I was going to wear
nice.
today.
That's a
But then I
super
had
good
my
one.
blazer.
Are you? I know. Is that your? And Lucy, I'm wearing your shirt today.
I know. I love
Love
it.
it. And I told you Sean's friend got him one too. Like,
Yeah.
like independently of mine. Like, didn't know that I had one or anything. It was so funny. Like, we got him like the same week.
I haven't
random.
got. I need to. I'm seriously lacking in Scottish folklore themed
That's
t-shirts,
probably-
which is why we're going to make our own merch so that we can
There you
get
go.
some.
There you go.
So tell us about your Scottish ancestry.
So I am, I have the one that I have found the most of came over in 1652, and
Wow,
it's
that's a
believed that
long
he was a
time.
PO. Yeah, it's believed that he was a POW from Dunbar.
Uh-huh.
And so he was, I think if my calculations were right, he was about 19 years old, and he was captured at Dunbar, and they were marched from Dunbar to London, and they stayed on the Thames in a ship for like a month until they figured out what they were going to do with him. So all the officers went to the Tower of London. A lot of them were sick and died. A lot of them had injuries, were either killed or died. And the ones who were really young and healthy, they didn't want to re-release them out into Scotland again because they thought they would have to fight them again. So they sent them to the colonies.
Yeah.
And so I found where he was an indentured servant for 7 years
No way.
in Virginia. Yeah.
Crazy.
So wild.
And so he was from Aberdeen.
What was his name?
His name was Robert Abernathy.
So cool. And he was from Aberdeen.
He was from Aberdeen, which is where I think
Yeah, that's
Abernathy
where I
came
think-
from,
Oh yeah, right. Oh my
Yeah.
gosh, that's wild.
which I believe is a sept of Clan Fraser. Which is where my
Is it?
Right, this is your shirt. I was just gonna say, way to wrap it
Wow,
up.
I didn't know
Yep.
that.
That's so cool.
So we have
Wow.
here where I live, we have one of the largest and oldest Scottish Highland Games in the U.S.
I know, and I can't believe I have not been. And every year I talk about it. I'm like irate. And we were gonna go in 2020, but then the stupid
They're having it again this year.
COVID. Are they really?
They've announced it. Yeah, they're coming back this year.
Actually, I did see that. I've been like stalking it for years because
Ginger
and I live in the same state, by the way.
Thingy, what's it called? Something Mountain.
It's Grandfather Mountain.
Grandfather Mountain.
Yeah, that's not far. It's like 2 hours from me, or less than. It's like between us, probably exactly between us.
No, I'm actually on this side.
Are you closer?
Yeah.
Oh, you are?
Well, Grandfather Mountain's only like a 35-minute drive from my house.
From you. Okay, so we're not that far apart at all.
No.
So you're in my favorite part of North Carolina,
yes.
by the way.
I'm near where Fraser Ridge would be.
Yes. I know.
So when I come visit Karen and basically like
heck yeah,
move into her house,
we'll take a road trip and we'll go see Ginger. Yes.
We can take a road trip.
Heck yeah, we can. It won't even be that far.
Oh my God, and ghost hunt. Ghost hunt in your house. Are you ready for that, Karen?
No, there's no ghosts in my house.
Are you sure?
There are no ghosts in my house. Please tell me there's no. I think Maggie would know. I feel like that. Do your animals pick up on Lee? They do. I was going to say,
I bet all kinds of things. Yeah, they'll sit there and.
She's very.
Yeah, they don't bark at them. They usually don't bark at them.
But
they usually
like be alert.
They'll look up and they'll like follow something that's not there.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, I have one other one that I can share.
Okay,
that comes to my head.
Okay.
So I'm at my neighbor's house across the street from me, and we're just kind of hanging out in her living room floor, just kind of sitting there having some wine and hanging out. And she lives in this ginormous house, and where we are in the living room, she has this big entertainment center, right, with her TV and stereo, and she has an old like record player, turntable, and everything in it. We're just kind of sitting there hanging out, and the little door on the entertainment center pops open. And so she reaches over and pushes it back closed. And she's a lot like I am. Things like this just doesn't bother me because she has all kinds of things happening in her house too.
Oh my God.
And so she just reaches over and pushes it closed. But we're sitting there talking, it pops back open. She pushes it back closed. And it pops back open. And she pushes it back closed. And she's like, okay, that's enough, cut it out. And then like several of them pop open. And so we're closing them up, and I look over and her turntable is turning.
Oh my God.
Oh! And I told her, I was like, did you turn this on? She's like, no, it's not even plugged up.
Oh.
And I went behind it and turned it, and it wasn't plugged in at all. Like I was holding the plug in my hand, and the turntable
was going. Stop it. Yeah.
Stop
it's right.
Stop.
Yeah. We just both like crack up laughing, just hysterical laughter. And she's like, I am so glad that these things but that was the fun one. We were both just hilariously laughing. She says, I am so glad that you can come over here and not be freaked out by these kinds of things. We could hear people like walking upstairs, and she lives alone. It was her and her infant son, and we could hear people like walking upstairs. It was just crazy stuff.
I just want to know how you get to a place where that's not freaky. Like, what can I do to like calm my nerve? I would be so unnerving.
Just know, for the most part, the majority of them, they don't want to hurt you.
What if I'm not hanging out with the majority of them? What if I have the 2% ghost?
You will know. No, you will know. You will know. But most of them,
trust me,
not.
you'd probably get a 2%.
I was like, we need a t-shirt that says like, please don't be the 2% ghost.
Before I forget.
I had one of the 2%, and you'll know it if it ever came.
Oh God.
You'll know it if it ever came. But most of them, they don't. They're just harmless. They honestly just want to be acknowledged, and they want to. They're lonely, or they're attached to you somehow. Maybe they're a family member or somebody who's passed who comes to visit. My grandma's come to visit me several times.
Oh, really?
So I know it's her. I can feel her. And I have these ideas that pop in my head that I have to make. I have to make like her favorite food. Like she would always make chicken and dumplings, and I would just hit this urge to make chicken and dumplings all of a sudden. And so
that's so sad and so sweet.
So most of them just want to either visit with you because they're past family members or friends who are close to you, or they're just lonely and they're stuck. And so most of them they're not harmful at all.
Okay.
So just There's nothing. There's nothing.
Karen does not look convinced over this at all.
Well,
Okay.
and
hang
here
on a
I am
minute,
going to tell you
Karen.
this 2% story.
Do you remember when we were in Scotland and we heard the footsteps in Ward Hill? We weren't scared at all because we weren't expecting it. And it sounded so real that I really thought it was somebody coming down the corridor. And then after we realized that there was nobody coming down the corridor, and we asked the owner of the castle, is this castle haunted? And she kind of went,
Castle, Lucy.
maybe, like,
They're-
depends whether you're okay with that or not.
She was like, well, it's been here for so long, so
They're just people that used to live in the castle that are still hanging around. That's what she said, didn't she?
Yeah,
But
most of
it
them are
wasn't,
just
that
kinda-
wasn't scary.
Mm-mm.
I know.
Most of them
Yeah.
aren't. Most of them aren't. And once, I don't know, I guess I'm so used to it that it doesn't really bother me anymore.
Were you scared? Do you remember being like a younger and having your first encounters? You weren't freaked out then either?
No, I used to play in graveyards when I was a kid.
Oh, Jesus.
So my grandparents, so my
I love
great
you.
grandparents. I love graveyards. I love old graveyards. I love
love
like
them
looking at the
too.
stones.
I like them during the day. I do. I really do. But I
No,
do.
my
comes a
husband thinks
time
I'm
when
crazy.
I have to get out. Yeah, I can't.
No.
I can't linger.
I
there.
heard that graveyards aren't the most haunted of places, though, because
They don't want to stay there.
people don't want to stay there when they've died. Like, if you could choose where you're going to go when you die, you're not going to stay where your body is.
Well,
you're
they
going to
also
stay.
it's also like a random piece of land, right? They've never been there
Yeah.
probably their whole life while they're alive, and then they're already
Yeah.
dead when
They've got
they
no
go
attachment
there.
to it.
So they're like, I'm
Yeah.
out when their bodies.
Although
whatever.
I think when I die, I think it would be kind of cool to be a ghost at a haunted graveyard. Can you imagine?
I'm totally
I'd
gonna
like-
hunt. I'm totally
I'd
gonna
like
hunt
to be
people.
one of those like super gothy, almost like a Miss Havisham type ghost standing in amongst these really old carved statues in graveyards and hiding behind the graves and popping out to scare people. That would be kind of a fun
God.
ghosty thing
Yeah,
to do.
wouldn't it? I'm
Yeah.
totally haunting people. It's too much fun.
Okay.
But no, my great grandparents were buried in the city cemetery, and the city didn't take care of it. The families had to take care of their own plots. So about once a week, I stayed with my grandparents in the summer when my mom and dad worked. So during the day, I stayed with them, and so once a week we would have to go to the graveyard and clean off the grave sites. And so to keep myself and my cousins out of trouble, there were three of us. My grandma would let us play hide and seek in the graveyard as long as
Oh,
we don't
wow.
as long as we didn't like mess with things.
Right. Like
And she's like, you can't
Vandalize
you
anything.
can't walk on certain sides of the graves. You can't walk like on the graves.
Yeah,
And she
I've
would
heard
tell
that.
us, she would tell us these things to scare us sometimes, that the places where you would put the vases in, there was like a hole. It looked like a hole in the ground where you would put your vase in,
Uh-huh.
put the flowers in. And she would tell us that if we were too rowdy or we got too close to that hole, that their hand would reach up and they'd grab us and pull us in.
I'm sure that works. You're like, okay.
That's more like zombies than ghosts.
Yeah,
That's a
yeah.
bit.
Oh,
I think I'm more
she's
afraid
a
of
whole other
zombies than I am
podcast.
of ghosts.
My grand's a whole other podcast.
so
She was
funny.
totally, she used to tell us all kinds of crazy stuff.
Is she still alive?
No, she passed. She passed away. She would be 102 on
She's the one that
Beltane.
you said that
Mm.
you get the urge to cook certain things because
Yeah. Yeah, she and I were very, very close.
Hmm.
Yeah, but no, yeah, and we would play hide and seek, and I don't know, it was just a normal
Fun.
thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Daytime scares me. The daytimes don't scare me. Although what does freak me out a little bit is in the Greyfriars graveyard in Edinburgh. Thank you so much.
Oh, well done.
Thank you. I've been practicing for 20 years.
I know.
How their people get like physically scratched.
Oh,
There's like
yeah.
one super haunted vault, and people have been like, they come away or wake up with like these lesions and
Yeah.
scratches, and that is just fucked
What's
up.
the name? What's the name of the guy again that's buried there that's supposed to be super evil?
Well, he mass tortured mass people, and that whole,
Yeah.
and there was like a homeless man in like 1994 or something, like stumbled into that crypt and like unearthed the skeleton. It's like it was on Men in Kilts. Although, have you not
I
seen
don't
that
get
one yet?
that show over here.
But that same tomb, I did a tour with on when Mandy and I were doing a graveyard tour of there. They were talking about that same crypt and how like people are getting physically.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts on that, Ginger? What do you think is happening there?
I've heard of it.
That's
The
a 2%
tours that we
ghost,
did,
isn't it?
the tours that we did in Hawaii, there were people who have been there who experienced things like that. I myself have never experienced anything like that. So I can't speak personally about it, but I have heard of other people who have. And I don't know, I think maybe they're just, you run into some angry things.
Spirits.
And yeah.
And that
do you think they're angry because of the situation they're in? Or do you think, well, I'm guessing that just like in life, you get super nice people and really horrible people. So maybe it's just a horrible person, a ghost that was horrible in real life.
It's horrible in real death.
Yeah.
And I guess and then I guess that answers my question on like how you're feeling physical things from ghosty forms. Is that like you can't see them, but they are causing that? What other explanation is that?
Yeah, I have before just had this overwhelming just flush of anger that went through me sometimes. And I would tell my husband, like, all right, I don't know what's going on, but I'm like super mad and I want to kill everybody. So
that's menopause.
Just give me a minute. You know, that very well could be. That very well could be.
So the other 2%.
That was the other 2%. Yeah, you're right.
Oh, it's so funny. Every time
he throws chocolate and whiskey at me. So
oh my god,
you have a whole t-shirt about how it's not the menopause, it's just our angry ghost.
And Ginger, you have your sky background, but you know when you move your head, I get little peeks of your real bathroom, and I just keep expecting to see Lee's little face, like hello.
Oh my god, that would be amazing. Can we ask him?
No, but I can tell you who he kind of looks like. If you know. So do y'all know who Nicholas Holt is?
Yes.
No, but I'm googling it right now.
Yes, he's a British actor.
Yeah, he looks like Nicholas Holt with glasses.
Okay.
Oh, that's quite handsome.
Because the first time I saw a movie with him in it, I'm sitting there because I've seen like
he is handsome.
I've seen his face like in my head before, and I'm sitting there at the movie theater, and he comes on the screen, and I'm like, oh, that's Lee. And my daughter looks at me, she's like, that's Lee? I was like, no, but he looks like that.
No way.
But yeah.
Wow.
That's what he looks like to me.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Just put a real face on it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just imagine him with glasses on.
Okay. Now when you move your head, I'm like, Lee, is that you?
I know. No. Come on, show us yourself.
And is your scary last encounter story, is that in this? That's not in this house, right?
That was near you.
Oh, was that the Raleigh one?
That was the Raleigh
in your
one.
house. That was in your house.
Stop
Karen.
saying that. That's not nice.
No. So my husband and I, when we first moved in together, it was our first apartment together, and it was in Raleigh, and we were on the third floor because he had to be on the top floor because he didn't want people above us. And so I think I could drive 15 minutes to get to the city center. Mm-hmm. So it was when it was kind of 15 minutes away from the city.
Lucy just looks right at me. She's like, take that.
From downtown. Yeah, it's downtown. But it was kind of tucked away into this little area that had, trees, and there was a little pond, which, I'm a country girl. I grew up on a farm. So that's what I really, really wanted. I didn't want to feel like I was living in the city. Right. So that's where, my husband was already living in that complex, just in a smaller apartment. So when I came to move in with him, we went to a bigger apartment. And so we're on the third floor. We don't have like direct neighbors, people underneath us. And then if you walk out of our door, there's like a sidewalk, and you go across the sidewalk and there's another apartment. So you only have like one apartment per floor, if that helps. And then, well, the other apartment like was butted up against the back of us. So we weren't like side by side on apartments. We were butted against each other. So there's only one entrance to the apartment. That was our main door. And they were like deadbolts and things like that. And so being on the third floor, that was the only way in and out. We did have a little patio, but there was no way to get in and out from the patio. So we're settling in for the night. My daughter was 3, so we're trying to potty train her. And where our bedroom was on the back side of the apartment building. So we had our bedroom and bathroom. You go down the hall, her room and the bathroom, go down the hall, the kitchen and the living room, and that was it. And so we're getting settled in for the night. We turn the lamp off, and I hear what I thought was her getting up and going, she's walking up and down the hallway. Like, what in the world is she doing? So I get up, we turn the lamp on, I get up, I go look, and she's asleep in bed. So I thought, all right, maybe it's just us, you know, it's kind of a new apartment. We've been there maybe a couple of months. And I thought, well, maybe it's like the people underneath us or something. So I go back to bed, turn the light back off, get settled in, and somebody is walking up and down the hallway. We could hear somebody in our apartment.
So much.
It did. It totally freaked us out because we seriously thought somebody had broken into our apartment. So we got up, we turned the lamp on, we sat there for a minute, and the noise stopped. So we got like, he got a baseball bat, and there was like a glass candle holder like next to the bed. So I grabbed it, and we're walking through the apartment, like holding these things, looking behind everything. We looked behind the couch and the closet. We searched every inch of that apartment. Door was bolted shut. We didn't see anything. So we're like, okay, this is our imagination. Something's crazy. Let's just go back to bed. So we go back to bed, turn the lamp off, heard it again. People walking, there's somebody walking up and down the hallway. And so, so we get up and we call his dad, and it's like, I think somebody, and he's like, well, nobody can get in there. He's like, so it's probably like a neighbor or something. Every single night this happens. Every time we go to bed, we turn the lamp off. So we start sleeping with the hall light on, because I figured if the hall light is on, we don't hear it. So we sleep with the lights on.
Yeah, hell yeah. And then every light on.
I would have slept with headphones on just so I could hear the noise.
Oh God, I wouldn't, because then I wouldn't know if they were like coming closer.
No, I was worried that my daughter's down the hall.
Well, that makes it even scarier. Yeah.
And so I'm thinking, you know, she's up wandering around the apartment, but she's not. And so it literally, you could hear the footsteps. You could hear the body movement of somebody walking through the house. And so after a couple weeks or so, I start having these massive nightmares. And I've always had nightmares, so it didn't like dawn on me that they were connected at all. And so I start having these really bad nightmares that I'm getting chased. And I get chased through the woods, and I still remember the dreams very vividly, that I'm running through the woods and I'm breathless and something's after me night after night, and they keep getting worse and worse and worse. And every night it feels like they're trying to catch me. Like I could feel them coming, like as soon as they catch me, I wake up. And this goes on for a couple of weeks. But in the meantime, my husband, who was my boyfriend at the time, he was staying up later and later every night. Like he would stay up and he would sit up in bed and read. And
was it because of the footsteps?
He said that he just couldn't sleep. He was just having a hard time sleeping. And so it got to where he was only sleeping like a few hours a night. And I told him, I was like, something's got to give. I said, what is going on? And he's like, I'm really afraid to tell you because, you know, we just moved in together. It's kind of a new relationship. And he says, I'm kind of afraid to tell you. I'm like, just tell me anyway. Just tell me what you got to lose.
Right.
He says, well, I've been dreaming every night that I'm chasing you through the woods.
Oh, no.
And he said, and the last couple of nights I've dreamed that I've caught you and I've killed you and I'm dismembering you. And he said, I am afraid to go to sleep at night. He said, because the dreams are so real and they're so vivid. And he says, I'm afraid to go to sleep. So we said, okay, well, in the morning, we're going to go down to the office for the apartment building and we're changing apartments because something's not right here.
Right.
Something's not
Yeah,
right.
something is
Because I told him, I said,
affecting your dreams. That's so terrifying.
well, I told him, I said, because I'm dreaming that I'm being chased in the woods. Like somebody's chasing me in the woods. And he's like, yeah, we're changing apartments.
Oh my God.
We didn't have the money to break our lease, right? We didn't have that kind of money to break our lease, but we went down, we broke our lease, and within a couple of weeks, we had moved into a new apartment. Well, during those couple of weeks, we slept with the lights on.
Hell yeah.
You know, and it was just kind of craziness. So we got into the new place. And of course, you know, we're not going to tell the 3-year-old what's happening.
Of course. Yeah.
So we get into the new place, and it's a nice little duplex in this little cul-de-sac neighborhood. It's so super cute. My daughter has her own little bathroom, and she's so excited about it. And we decorate a room by all new stuff and trying to make a big deal out of it that we've moved again in 6 months. And so I'm tucking her in bed one night, and I said, so do you like your new room? She's like, oh, Mommy, I love my new room. I was like, really? What do you like best about it? Because we always ask questions of what do you like the best, or what's your favorite part? Yeah. It's like, so what's your favorite part about your room? And I thought she was going to say, I have my own bathroom, right? Well, she looks at me and she says, oh, Mama, the monster doesn't come out of my closet and walk up and down the hallway at night.
Oh my God.
I was like, what? She said, there's a big scary monster that would come out of my closet and walk up and down the hallway and scare me. So I said, well, yes, that is a good thing. She was. I go downstairs, and I come down from downstairs, and my husband looks up at me, and he's like, what's wrong with you? Are you all right? And I was like, what? He's like, you are white as a sheet. He said, you're just white. He said, what is it? He said, looks like you've seen a ghost. I'm like, well, let me tell you what she just said.
Wow.
And it was like, holy cow. Holy cow.
God.
Does she remember any of this?
She does, yeah. She does. Yeah, and she's my oldest, so she's 26 now and lives in Boston. But yeah, she remembered it.
That is beyond terrifying.
Yeah, I don't think she remembers like what it looked like or anything like that. But yeah, the big scary monster.
Oh, you were to get out of that place.
I think that was a demon. That wasn't. I don't think that was a ghost. I think that had to be a demon of some kind.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that wasn't a nice one.
Look at Karen.
That was not a nice one.
She's like, we're talking about demons now. I can't cope with this.
Just took a turn. Was not prepared for.
You know that I'm gonna on purpose find lots of scary ghost stories to tell you in our podcast, just so I can see that face again.
Oh God.
Yeah, and it still gives me chills when we talk about it. But yeah. That was crazy.
Oh,
that was
not
crazy.
Surprised.
Your
that
poor
is terrifying.
Daughter. Oh my God, I want to know what apartment complex that is. I wonder if it's still there.
I wonder if they had a very quick turnover of people renting that apartment.
You know, we didn't ask. We didn't go back.
I want to Google.
I didn't even drive by there. It's off of Spring Forest. So it's off of Spring Forest.
Spring Forest and Six Forks. I know right where that is.
It's kind of in that area.
That's actually not far from Jerry's Artorama. Is Six Forks and like Wakes Forest Drive.
There was a shopping complex within walking distance that had a fresh market.
Mm-hmm. And I know where that is.
It had a Blockbuster.
Yeah. I know exactly where that is.
It's behind it, kind of. Yeah.
Holy shit. I can't believe that. Holy God.
Yeah, I don't know what that was. I don't know what that was.
All of them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I feel like we could sit and speak to you for the next few hours.
I'm like riveted right now.
Yeah.
I'm like
that was the scariest. Honestly, that was the scariest thing that's ever happened. I do have one more. It didn't frighten us.
It's like dessert. I'm like, you do?
Yeah, this isn't very long. This isn't very long. So we go camping a lot. We're big campers. And my husband's actually part Cherokee. So we go to the reservation a lot and go camping.
Oh, that's so cool.
And so there's a campground that we always go to that's nearby. And it's kind of It's about maybe a 15-minute drive to the heart of the reservation from where we camp. So we're sitting there one night, and it's just the two of us. The kids weren't with us for this trip. And we're sitting out by the campfire, and we hear powwow drums. And there's not a lot of people in the campground. So on the side of the campground that we were in was just us, and there was another tent. So there was we didn't see the people, we saw the dog. So there was a dog that was tied out by the tent. And so, but we were sitting there and we heard powwow drums, and they were very faint. It almost sounded like it was coming from the reservation. So we looked at the time, and it was like 2 a.m. It's like, they're not doing anything over there right now, because they're just, it's too late, and there's nothing going on. It's like the middle of the week. There's no festival, there's no powwow, there's nothing going on. And so we sit and we listen for it. We listened to it for a while. And the dog at the other tent started barking like crazy. It was just going bananas. And he said, those people are going to be gone by dawn. He said, I'll bet you they're going to be gone. And you could hear the singing, and it sounded, to me, it sounded beautiful. You could hear the trees rustling and stuff, and the powwow drums in the distance. And we just sat and listened to it most of the night.
Oh my gosh.
And it started to kind of fade, and we just went ahead and went to bed. Well, we got up fairly early, because when you're camping, as soon as the sun gets up, pretty much you're awake. And I got up and looked, and it was probably 5:36 in the morning. And I looked, and the people who were camping next to us, they were gone. They just left super early. So they left before dawn, sometime during the night. But no, that to me was a magical moment.
I was gonna say, for me, that would not be something I'd want to run away from, because that would be an absolutely magical thing to experience.
Yeah, we just sat there and listened most of the night.
Oh my God, it just went on and on and on. That's super cool.
That's not some scary ghost coming into your tent
demon.
and like zipping your tent open and peeing in your face.
Like a hatchet.
That's like the sound of the past or something. Just
there's some crazy places up there that's crazy haunted. Yeah,
that's cool.
Yeah, but that was a cool story. So that there was your brain mint, Karen.
Thank you. I really appreciate that, actually.
Karen, I'm just going to say I'm really sorry. When I come to America, I'm not going to stay with you. I'm going to come and stay with Ginger instead.
That's not fair.
You can both come and stay. I'm
not going anywhere near your house, Ginger, with your I'm just kidding.
No, it's fine.
I'm just kidding. I'll stay in your haunted
house. I want you to
house.
take me to the...
Lee is pretty cute if he looks like
Hector
anyway. That's like a game changer, and he's so friendly.
He's a doll.
Like that he scared your neighbors away. That was kind of funny.
Yeah.
And the horrible scary demon one isn't in her house anyway, so it's okay.
It's just 20 minutes away, but whatever.
It's it's several hours for me. It's like 3.5 or so hours for me, so it's fine.
It's my neighbor, but whatever. I'm not going to worry about it.
It'll be fine. Just don't go visit that apartment complex.
It's far enough away from me. We're fine. I don't need to worry about it. It's over thousands of miles.
Yes.
I'll swap you the scary Bible for the
I want to see the Bible. I want to see it so bad. I can't go. I can't wait much longer. You have to sneak it in. Just sneak in there. Does he ever leave? This has been going on for weeks.
Not much.
He sounds like my boys. My boys don't leave either. Oh my god!
You know what boys are like.
Yeah, we all do.
I'm gonna have to stop talking about my adult grown-up son, because if he ever does decide to listen to this, he will hate me.
Okay, well, let's just put it this way.
Ever.
The sooner you can show me a picture of the Bible, the sooner I can stop obsessing over seeing it. I want to see it so bad.
Yeah. I'll try and do it.
Yeah, it does.
I'll try and do it like next time he's out of the house. And maybe I'll send him.
What was the lock of hair in? Was it like an envelope? It was just in Ziploc baggie? What is that?
No.
Oh, it's
in between the pages.
Like just hair?
Gross.
Oh, I thought it was like in something, just hanging out.
I've seen
Not
lots
only
of hair with a ribbon around it before,
Yeah, like something
like
is
stuck in Bibles.
Oh, it's disgusting.
That
And
is
then
disgusting.
not only that, there was like they'd written an inscription in the front page or in the inside page that was actually, I am gonna have to go and find this and take photos, even though I don't
you are.
want to touch it. And this is the third time we've talked about this Bible.
Gloves on it. Yeah.
But there was some like super morbid sounding, really, really gross, just sort of like morbid sounding inscription. There were photocopies of photos of presumably the people whose family used to own the Bible. These old vintage photos, but they were just photocopies of them. Inside this, I just don't want anything to do with anything of this.
I promise
fact,
I'll stop asking as soon as you show it to me.
When he bought it, he wasn't staying with me. He was staying with my mother for a wee while. And so he dumped the Bible on me and then went up to his granny's. And so I was alone in the house with the Bible. And I actually did consider just picking it up and driving it round, dropping it at the back door of my mother's house and saying, there you
forgot
go,
your Bible.
For you.
I do think, I honestly do think that people leave parts of themselves in places and with things.
Oh, like their spirit selves, do you mean?
Yeah. Yeah. I do think that where you have been, if you've been there for a really long time, or if there's something specific that has been with you for a really long time, I do think that there are things like that have something attached to it, whether it's probably not bad. Most likely it's not bad.
I saged it. We're all good.
It's the 98%.
Yeah. It's good.
Yeah.
Just still gross.
Nothing untoward has happened as far as I know, because I saged it. But I do tend to, I'm a little bit like you, Ginger. I don't have nearly as many cool stories, and I haven't seen actual physical apparitions, and I'm not sure I want to, but I've had loads of weird stuff happen over the years, and some of it's happened in this house. Although I feel like there was a concentration in this house in the year after my dad died, and then it just went away. So I think it was something to do with my dad. Yeah. The thing when I saw the mist, that was not long after. And also one night I woke up and there was a really bright light shining through the what would be a keyhole in the door handle, except there wasn't a keyhole there. It's just a door handle, but it looked like there was a bright light shining through the keyhole in my bedroom, and it was this like almost like a luminous blue light. So that orb thing that you said really struck with me, and there were no lights on in the house, so the hallway outside was dark. And I woke up and I just looked at the door, and there was this really super bright light coming through this imaginary keyhole, but the keyhole didn't exist. And then one time there were strange markings on my mirror in my bathroom.
Oh, that's freaky.
Almost like, and my mirror I know you're not supposed to ever buy antique mirrors, but my mirror is an antique mirror, and you're not supposed to buy secondhand mirrors because they can carry things with them.
Really? Oh,
yeah.
It's like, oh my.
And you're not supposed to have
true.
You're not supposed to have mirrors faced. So I actually, in my bedroom, I took the mirrored wardrobe doors out, I put wood in, and I took my dressing table, which is antique as well, and put it facing away from my bed so that the mirror didn't face my bed. And actually a lot of the weird stuff that happens in the middle of the night has dissipated since I did that. But in the mirror in the bathroom would have funny what almost looked like somebody had written in it with their finger, with, you know, when the steam comes up and you have a shower. And
no, just no. That's
yeah,
terrifying.
I think I attract this kind of thing as well.
That's
definitely
terrifying.
Yeah, I've seen pictures in the mirrors, like in the steam of the mirrors. I've seen it looks like pictures.
Yeah, it's like somebody's taken their finger while I'm in the shower, and the mirror didn't have anything on it before, and then as the steam builds up while I'm having a shower, and I get out of the shower, and then that's all I can think about is I'm in the shower naked, and there's somebody in there with me watching me while I'm having a shower, and they're writing on the mirror.
I can't.
And it's almost like someone's written something in there. It's super weird.
I can't do it. I can't.
You should take a picture of it next time and then flip it.
Oh,
take
no,
the
I don't
picture
know if I
and
could do
flip
that.
Yeah, see what it says.
This is like horror movie shit that I can't get
Karen,
over.
Next time you come to Scotland, you're staying in my house.
This is like why they're in some of the corridors, because I know what a corridor is. I can talk all about them. in the long hallways of Ward Hill Castle, fucking mirrors. I'm like, don't put a mirror there. It's terrifying. You have this long, dark, black corridor with a mirror at the end, and you have to go to the corner where the mirror is before you can change directions to go then down another dark corridor. Like, I don't know how. I can't.
Yeah, and the brilliance of watching like the Bly Manor, the haunting of Bly Manor, the brilliance of that was I didn't see the people so much. I watched behind the people. So because it always looked like there was either something behind them or something was going to move behind them. And so I'm always looking behind people to see what's on there. Yeah, the only actual horror movie that I've ever seen that was as close to reality that I could possibly get to was The Woman in Black. If you've seen The Woman in Black.
Oh, is that the one with Daniel Radcliffe?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's the only horror movie. The rest of them are just silly.
A lot of them are jump scares, and they're not really. But the Haunting of Hill House did freak me out, especially that lady in her room, because that's what I've not had anyone look like they were hanging, but that's what I've had a lot of is people in my room. And I've had that for 25 years. My freakiest one was when I was at college in the States, and I went to Oberlin in the States, and I woke up, but I think I was actually asleep. I think it was a lucid dream of some sort. I'm not quite sure. It was that I'm not sure whether I'm awake or asleep. And I looked over, and so I had a roommate. I was in a dorm room, so I had a roommate, and our beds were at corners to each other. So like her bed was there and my bed was here. So it was like an L shape, and we had a sofa, and I looked over to the sofa, and there was a man sitting on the sofa just watching me, and he had this what can only be described as a smug smile on his face. It was like evil. It was like you've seen me and you've caught me watching you and I don't give a shit kind of look. And he sat there and watched me, and I tried to wake my roommate up. And so our beds were actually just mattresses on the floor. So I crawled across the floor to try and shake her to wake her up. And she woke up when I was touching her, and the man disappeared. And then I wasn't sure if I'd been asleep or awake, but I definitely crawled across to touch her. And then I've got it super freaky. The really freaky thing was that the next morning, one of my best friends, she used to always come round to my room on certain days because we had the same class together, and she'd like go and make coffee and come up and wake me up, and we'd like walked to class together, and she delivered me this coffee in bed because she was a sweetie. And she came to my room and she said, "You'll never guess what happened to me last night." And I said, "Oh my God, I'm getting shivers just thinking about it." I said, "What?" And she said, "There was somebody in my room watching me." And she was on her own. Her roommate wasn't in the room. And hers was a woman with curly hair. And the woman said, "You're going to get sick soon." And she actually did. She ended up getting diagnosed not long after with thyroid problems, I think it was.
No way.
And she said she said, "I'm not sure if it was a dream or if it really happened because I was the only person in the room. My roommate wasn't there." The really freaky thing is, so that has been with me for 25 years, maybe.
Mm-hmm.
And then just this year, for some reason, I saw a post in, I think it was a Facebook Oberlin alumni Facebook group, something about ghosts or something. And there was a link to a blog post, I think, on the college website. And there was a story about people seeing people in their rooms at night in the same dorm that I was in and she was in. Like, we were in different dorms. So I think it was her dorm that the story was from. But the story was that these two people, and it wasn't our story, it was from a different set of students.
The same story.
That they had seen the same story where they both had somebody visit them in their room in the middle of the night. But it was so, I couldn't believe it when I read that. Because I was like, that is what happened to us.
That's wild.
And we didn't write in with that story.
Right.
That is not my story. That is somebody else's story from the same college and actually pretty much the same dorm.
Wow.
And the same thing has happened to them.
That's
and I
wild.
still don't know
Crazy.
to this day whether that man was a ghost or if it was sleep paralysis or if I was dreaming. I don't know what it was, but it felt real to me. Like he was like exuding this. It was just a horrible, evil feeling that was coming across from this guy. Like, it wasn't just, oh, there's someone in the room. It was this weird, super sinister kind of
2% asshole is what he was.
He was a 2% asshole. Yeah.
Oh, I'm so sorry.
You know, you can always tell them to go away.
Yeah, I've heard
is
that.
You
true?
Can
just say fuck off. Yeah.
Why is that? Do you think?
I'm not really sure. I haven't figured that out yet, but I do know that if you don't want them around for whatever reason, you do have to make sure that you don't sound like you're afraid, that you have authority with your voice and that you can tell them, "I don't want you here. You need to go away," or "I want you to go away," and things like that. So
they don't like get mad and wreak like revenge on you or anything.
They haven't with me.
Okay. Have you done that before? Have you stated for them? You have.
Yeah.
Thank you for that nugget of advice. I appreciate that.
Yeah, because there are times that they can be overwhelming, that they're just around too much, or that there's somebody there that you don't feel comfortable with. You can just tell them, I'm not comfortable with you here. You need to go away.
When you wake up in the middle of the night and you feel the presence of someone standing in the corner of your room, it's so terrifying. But there was this one, I know that I'm going on to my stories now, but I feel like I really want to tell Georgia this one. So there was this one time, and actually this is just before I found out that I was pregnant with my son. So I think I must have been pregnant, but didn't know I was pregnant yet. And I was living in Spain, and I was actually living in a bus in Spain. And I was just, again, I was
so many
asleep.
questions about that, but that's okay. We'll hit that on another episode.
I was asleep. Again, I wasn't sure if I was asleep or awake. It was one of those in-between states. And all of a sudden, there was this really ethereal, blonde-haired woman who was just like slim and blonde and floaty almost. And she came and she stood next to me on the bed, and she did what only can be described as Reiki. And she put her hands all the way up my body, but with like, you know, like 5 inches or, you know, a little gap. And I could actually feel the energy. And she did it over the whole of my body. And then she disappeared.
How
And
cool
I
is that?
feel like it, like,
Is it
like
cool though?
if my son ever listens to this, he's gonna think that I have, like, he's gonna actually phone and put me in the loony bin. But I feel like she was some sort of being that was like sent to, like, when I became pregnant to like protect me or something, because
She was blessing you.
yeah, you don't know like the whole, I mean, it's like a story for another podcast, but my pregnancy was awful and I was in hospital the whole time, but my son survived and he's still, you know, he's still alive, and he was like this miracle baby that shouldn't have been around at all. And I feel like the two are connected, like that guy in my room, that was like a really sinister visit. And this woman, it was almost like she was this being of light that was this like weird kind of like angel figure. I don't know if you've ever had anything like that, but like I don't know whether that was a dream or whether it was real or whether it was
Sounds like you had a
from the
blessing.
night before. Oh no, sorry.
What did you say? What did you say?
I said the acid from the night before.
Yeah, well, I did live in a busted space.
I was just saying. No, I'm just saying.
No, and did you, while she was doing that, did you feel like really peaceful and calm? Like you weren't afraid?
No, I could actually feel the energy between her hand and my body.
Yeah.
Like, you know, I could
She
feel
was-
like this kind of heat almost.
Yeah, I bet she was blessing you. She
Yeah.
was blessing you.
I know, because I know nothing about Reiki, but you're talking to the best person about this because she
Yeah,
does Reiki and she knows ghosts. So yeah,
I know,
that's amazing.
that's
insight.
almost what I felt like it was some sort of Reiki. It had that same sort of feeling where it's like there's the energy between the hands, but
What really quickly, because I know we're going almost 2 hours. What is that with Reiki when you're doing that? What's the gist of?
So the gist of it is, so we're all, in short, and this kind of is starting to sound like Star Wars, we're all made up of energy. So everything has energy from the desk, from your body. So the slower the energy, the more solid the thing. So spirits are made up of the same energy as we are, but they're not solid. Like they don't have a body, so they're not as solid as we are. So what you do is, so you can feel your own energy. If you rub your hands together and you pull them apart, you can feel that energy between your hands.
Try it.
Yeah, and sometimes you have to like concentrate and you do it kind of really slow, and it feels like a magnet. So it almost feels like there's like the magnets between your hands.
So Ginger, when you come with us to Scotland, as you will, Lucy, we have to take you to the stone circles to feel the energy from the stones.
Because you can feel the energy on the stones.
Yeah, I can feel that.
Actually feel pulsing.
It's
on
like
those
pulsing
stones.
through the rocks. I know.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
I can do that with trees. So if you go up, if I'm a tree hugger, so if you go up to a tree and you like put your arms around it and you put your face up against it, you can hear it humming, and sometimes you can feel it vibrating.
I feel like
So
you're gonna
that's like
go
an
through
energy.
the stones though. Like you,
That's okay.
we're gonna have to
And
tell
there's-
your husband later.
there's
super
one
sorry,
stone
we
circle-
He'll
lost
understand.
your wife. Yeah, right. He'll be like, I knew this was coming.
There's one stone circle near me where not only can you feel like a pulsing when you touch the stone, but you can actually feel a shift in the temperature between next to the stone. And so I went to visit there a little while ago when it was quite cold outside. But right next to the stone, it actually felt like it was, 5 degrees warmer in that air pocket of about 10 centimeters.
Yeah.
And
there
is
was
that
a
the
sudden
energy,
shift,
you think?
in temperature when you then moved your hand further away. It was
Yeah, there's
fascinating.
there's energy in everything. So yeah, that's so fascinating. I have to go now. Definitely have to go now. But what Reiki is what you're doing is you're taking the energy. You're not taking your own because you don't want to deplete your own energy. So you're taking the energy that's around you,
Uh-huh.
in the room around you, and you're focusing it on either
Someone
yourself
else.
or someone else. And a lot of that is kind of like, how acupuncture is. Acupuncture, basically, it messes with your energy system. So the meridians where they put the needles, is where your energy is stagnant, and that's where it opens. Those needles will open that energy up. And Reiki's kind of the same way. It opens those energy pathways up, and it helps your blood flow better. And so you get stagnant in areas, and it depends on like your outside experiences. So if you've had like a lot of trauma, emotional trauma or physical trauma, that energy is going to be stagnant wherever that trauma is. So like if you've had a really bad heartbreak, or if something traumatic has happened to you emotionally, you're going to feel it through your chest and through the middle of your back, like between your shoulder blades, and you'll be able to feel that energy. And sometimes, since I'm kind of sensitive to it, I can feel, if I'm like scanning you, I can feel where that energy is blocked. And if I direct the other energy to that and start moving it around, it kind of unblocks that piece for you. I've had people cry before while I'm doing it. I've had people fall asleep while I'm doing it. My husband actually passed out once when I was doing it with him because he had a toothache, and I was trying to make the toothache go away. And so I was like doing it to his jaw, and he passed out.
Oh my gosh.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
So that's how
pain went away.
So that's how you're able to feel that guy who was like all locked up on one side because he had an accident.
Because I could feel the block.
That energy was like still there.
Yeah, and sometimes if it's pain, I can feel the pain going up my arms. Like I can actually feel the pain.
It's like you're like a super empath for sure. You are. But I love that you're laughing because it means that you're not like pretentious about it. You know what I mean? Like some people are like, yes, I am an empath and that is why. And you're just like, yeah, like, no, I'm not. Stop. And I'm like, no, you are.
It's a party trick. No, it's just a party trick.
No.
Yeah, we definitely need to get you to Scotland to come round and some castles with us.
Oh my God.
You can tell us all about the ghosts that live there.
Yes.
That would be awesome.
That would be insane.
Because there's definitely lots of ghosts in these castles.
And churchyards and so many cemeteries.
See, I need like 3 months. I need 3 months. So my dream is to take 3 months off and visit Scotland.
Just come and live with me.
My dream is to do that every year.
I can do that.
Yeah, that's my goal as well. Oh my God, Ginger, this was the most fun in the whole wide world.
It was amazing.
I could talk to you for 100 more hours, easily.
Yeah.
That was amazing.
Well, thank you guys so much. I really enjoyed hanging out with you guys.
If you'd like to join in some of the fairy fun and antics, come and find us on Instagram. We're called One Scot, One Not over there as well. And if you have a friend that's partial to the fae, or maybe they're even a secret Selkie, then please share this podcast with them.
For more information on our fantasy-themed notebooks and journals, uncut and unedited YouTube videos, and to share with us your own scary or folklore-related stories, and also for more information on our Celtic Collective art program, you can find all that information and more over at our website, onescotonenot.com.